Go now, and don't get caught this time.
Resident Evil 4 had a rocky development to say the least. After the first draft went through its metamorphosis into Devil May Cry, the devs took extra steps to ensure the next draft would closer resemble Resident Evil's horror aesthetic. We saw this in the last video, when we discussed the Fog version, which was revealed in 2002, which saw Leon and an unnamed girl fighting zombies in an umbrella castle, as Leon fights off an infection taking place in his left arm. While the Fog version made it to 40% completion, it was scrapped. While there's no certain reason given, it's strongly implied that after Devil May Cry, the dev team wanted to ensure that this next draft would be horror first and foremost. Cue the hallucination version. Somewhere between 2001 and 2003, a hallucination/Hookman version began development. This prototype was headed by Mr. Kawamura, head writer for Resident Evil 3, and our friend Mr. Sugimura, who we brought up last time. This version kept the idea of Leon and a girl fighting through an umbrella castle, although this time the girl would be separate from Leon. While our hero begins his infiltration from the outside, our heroine wakes up deep within, accompanied only by a BOW-infused dog. This version was highly ambitious, featuring piss-your-pants horror.
Resident Evil 4 will be scary than ever before. Don't pee your pants.
Romance, and the now iconic over-the-shoulder camera /laser/QuickTime events. Alas, this version was also cancelled due to becoming too expensive of a project. So picture this. You're a developer with tons of scrapped content, story ideas, and assets just lying around. Do you leave them to rot? Not if you're early 2000s Capcom. You see, at the time of RE4's development, there was a failing franchise called Clock Tower, a horror game based off of solving puzzles and evading pursuers. After the flop that was Clock Tower 3, the dev team was organized to grab the hallucination/Hookman prototype scraps and make a new, mostly new at least, IP.
My darling.
This brings us to 2004, where Capcom debuts Demento, known here in the West as Haunting Ground, at TGS. A game that features a girl that wakes up in a mysterious castle and must escape her pursuers with the help of her trusty dog. If Devil May Cry was the catalyst for action-heavy elements that would define Resident Evil 4 moving forward, Haunting Ground was the collection of all the scraps left behind. While not stated by Capcom as a spiritual successor to Clock Tower, many see it as one due to the dev team and gameplay similarities. At its heart, the tale of Fiona and her dog Hewie comes straight from Resident Evil 4's DNA. When the game released on April 21st, 2005, this became apparent. Shared assets, Fiona looking like a prototype of Ashley down to the render poses. The only thing that really keeps this game from being an alternate Sugimura version of Resident Evil 4 is the absence of a rootin' tootin' shootin' Leon. While it's easy to write this game off as a reconstruction of a failed Resident Evil 4, it's so much more than that. It has riveting story elements, interesting gameplay mechanics involving an AI companion that escorts you, which kind of works like a mirrored version of Leon and Ashley's relationship, and it does a lot of cool technical things, like using the PS2's internal sounds as its soundtrack. I will definitely be reviewing this game in the future. But for now, take note. This is the second in the RE4 development trinity. This is the legacy of Sugimura's version of Resident Evil 4. Devil May Cry, Haunting Grounds. All that's left is looking at the end product to finish showing how these 3 games are 3 of a kind, despite their surface level differences. But we'll save that for next time. I've been Pliskin. Over and out.